Hello, it's Cody. My project for Indigenous Studies 201 was based on the Dogon tribe inside of Africa on the west coast. It's directly in the Mali region. And it's actually not their native area. It's not where they originally came from. They're they're not 100% sure, but they believe that they are from Egyptian descent, dating back as far as 3200 BC. But roughly 1,000 years ago, the Dogon tribe made the decision to move from their native land. And they decided to move to the Bandiagara escarpment. They did this because of slave raiders that were French slave raiders. Well, no explanation needed there. And and there was a heavy influence of Islam religion in the area, and they just decided to get out of it, and they moved to this new area, and it has high standing cliffs, and it provided great protection from the slave raiders, as well as environmental protection as well. And the high points on the cliffs would also be great vantage points to see of any pending attacks upon their tribes. The Dogon tribe is actually a large collective group of tribes stretched out on a 150,000 kilometer stretch along these cliffs, and there's I think I don't have it written here. I think there's like 200,000 Dogon members still there, but I don't know 100%. Since they moved to this new location, the Dogon tribe people have relied solely on grain production and their livestock. Their most valuable grain, I guess you could say, is called millet. I've never heard of it personally, but they pound millet day in and day out, and they harvest it and they produce all kinds of stuff with it. The Dogon tribes are well known for their art, and off of their art, like they have built infrastructure amongst these tribes. They would build into the side of the cliffs by just chipping away at the rock, and they also build mud huts all over. So once the slave raiding kind of died down, they expanded off from the cliffs into the prairies nearby, and they built mud huts and formed whole towns. And at the very first building to be built for every community is called granaries, and it's where the men of the tribe would sit down and discuss any decisions needed to be made for the tribe. No women are allowed. The Dogon people are a very masculine orientated people. They firmly believe that women are less intelligent and they're not as capable. I don't know about now, but traditionally that's how things were held. And this granaries building is actually very short. It's like this tall, and then that's like 3 feet maybe. And it's actually structured that way specifically so that nobody could get into an argument with another member physically. It keeps them crouched, and it forces them to compromise verbally. So the Dogon people are very reliant on communication and peaceful understanding amongst their tribe. Okay, switching gears a little bit, we're going to talk about their art. Their art is very well known. It's probably what makes the Dogon people a very popular people. It's become a very large tourist attraction in West Africa. And they're probably most famous for their artwork and also their Dama dance. It's a dance performed once a year now for the deceased members of the tribe. The Dama dance also provides the it provides a time where a young boy will become a man. So he will prepare for this Dharma dance by physically doing the routines, and then also hand carving a mask that they wear. And it's a specific group in the tribe, and you have to perform in the Dharma dance to become a part of the tribe as a young man. And this Dharma dance is performed for the deceased, and the masks they wear are carved, and they resemble animals that are important to their culture. So like the fox means cunning and deceiving, while I can't remember the other one. But yeah, there's a bunch of them, and they carve their own, and they choose what animal they represent. But the masks are carved for animals because it provides one last glimpse of nature for the deceased person while they're passing away. So yeah, their artwork is actually so popular that tourism has expanded into this Dogon area in the Mali region so heavily that it's almost a business now. They have lodges set up in the Dogon country specifically designed for tourism, and they provide meals and hot baths, which is surprising because the only water source they have are just wells scattered along this whole region. So people will sometimes walk 3 kilometers a day for water just to provide for their families. So it's surprising to see hot water baths provided at a lodge. But yeah, anyway. But through this tourism, it's expanded their, I don't know how to say it, their infrastructure. They've built multiple schools in that area, as well as medical centers like hospitals. So tourism donations have actually helped in a lot of ways for the people. And lately there's a big movement with the young people because they're so heavily influenced through this tourism that they are now leaving their tribes and going to bigger cities, getting jobs that will help them provide for their families later on. So, in a sense, Dogon culture is kind of dying down because of this. But I don't think any of them are too upset because of what tourism has provided for them. Just to talk a little more about their infrastructure prior to tourism, though, it was amazing. They built the mud huts, but they would build huge mosques, like big churches, out of mud. And like, if you ever look a picture up, or if you have seen it, it's actually crazy. I don't know how they could even think about doing it. But yeah, so yeah, tourism has also provided the opportunity for young people in the tribe to not be forced to move away and look for work for their family. The tourism industry has evolved so much in that area that it provides jobs to the young generation so that they don't have to move away from their families and leave them stranded there. And just to re-emphasize, like, the Dogon people aren't new to change, or the idea of it, because 1,000 years ago they had to move because of slave raiders. They had to change and adapt to the new place and the new everything, right? So it's not new to them to have to be forced to change to something, although it's not great for their traditional culture, but they are advancing into the new modern age as best they can, at least. So that's it for me, I hope, and I hope it was good. Thanks.